So don't ever feel like you can't take medication, that's stigma. And it kind of goes with like what I was saying, like caring about what other people think. Sometimes you have to let go of your previous thoughts of, I don't want to ever need being on medication, to who cares? Um, if that's the worst thing that happens to you, is that let's say worst case scenario, you need to take a small white pill for the rest of your life to be able to function correctly and to be a functioning mother to your kids and to take a shower, to find happiness, then that's what you need to do, and that's okay. I hate the stigma, and that's part of the reason why I like to speak out, because I felt so ashamed, and I think that's why a lot of people don't, with church and stuff like that, are afraid to tell people at church, because they're so ashamed that for some reason we have it in our minds that if you love God and Jesus, you won't be affected by this, when really it is the complete opposite, that you love God and Jesus. This is going to be, the enemy is going to come at you because you're strong, you're a warrior for Christ, that the enemy is going to come at you and he's not going to stop. He's going to be relentless. He's going to try to knock you down. Don't let the anxiety and depression and what is happening with Ricky in your marriage, don't let him win. You have to kind of get mad in a way. So don't worry, and don't let Satan tell you or shame you, because that's how you can always know if that's from God or who that you're hearing a voice from. If you feel shame, that's from Satan. So I think that you should do what is right for you. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to tell you go get on this medication. But Lexapro has worked for me to where I feel like I have my power back. I feel like I can get my thoughts back. I can have, I have control over my emotions. And I'm glad that you're seeing Pastor David. You and Ricky are. You know what? And if you really want this, it's going to be, and to get past the betrayal, it's going to be hard. And I'm sure Pastor David has told you this. And I can't say I've ever been through that with my marriage. I've been through a lot with my marriage, and I can relate to you in the fact with Ricky that you guys have been together for so long, and Nick and I have been together for almost 12 years. So I can imagine betrayal happening and having to really kind of start from scratch and to start the trust process again. And trust is a big part in a relationship. That's where your vulnerability comes from. That's where a lot of your love comes from and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so don't ever feel ashamed of needing that help. Don't ever feel like there is a stigma attached to that, because you would be shocked at, and maybe you wouldn't be after seeing Becky, myself, and Katie speaking, but I think, because I would too, be shocked to know who that you see on a daily basis, or when you go to Target, or when you go to Walmart, or when you go, to drop off whatever, or you're at church. You would be surprised at how many people struggle with some sort of mental, I won't even call it illness, but I'll say mental instability or mental struggles, whether that's bipolar, like you were talking about. Ricky might be bipolar, and if he won't go get tested or helped or anything, you can't control that. And one of my advice parts that I would give to you when it comes to your anxiety, and something that I have to do, because I get anxious when Nick and I fight. It is a trigger from my childhood, because my parents always fought, and like I shared, I always walked on eggshells with my dad growing up. So when Nick and I are at odds, I am anxious because it just brings back memories. And something that really has helped me, and it's like a weird piece I get, is I have to know that people are going to let me down. My mom is going to let me down. My best friends are going to let me down. Nick is going to let me down. My pastor is going to let me down. But God and Jesus, they're never going to let me down. So when things happen that are out of my control, like anxiety, or if I get anxious at the grocery store. The grocery store is actually a trigger for me, because I'm in a huge place and I can't get out. And there's all those people who will see me if I have a panic attack. But whatever. I have to know, okay, what's the worst that can happen? And how is God going to look at me with this? And he's not going to leave me. He's going to be there always to confide in me. He's always going to be there to cheer me on. So Ricky is going to disappoint you constantly, time after time, just like you're going to do it with him. And my advice would be, and I think you're already doing this, but don't run towards God in this. I'm so sorry about the other woman that he's been talking to, the other girl. But you have somebody better you could run to, especially when it comes to your mental well-being. Stay in the Word. It's going to help your anxiety and depression. And that's the thing too. This is all new to you, but I'm telling you, it's going to get better. And I know, girlfriend, it feels like this is your life. This is your life. You're stuck. And it's never going to get better because it's a day after day after day and you see no hope and no end in sight. But I promise it will. And just as I speak about it now, I know one day I'm going to be back in that valley. But because there are good days, I know that when I'm in those valleys and God was faithful to bring me out of those valleys, I'm going to come back, and so are you.